Welcome back, everyone, to Westlake Hornets Teambuilder Dynasty here on NCAA Football 14. As today, our Hornets finish out Season 8 with a Rose Bowl victory over the Georgia Bulldogs, 35-28, as we look at the box score. But before we do, just figured that I'd let you guys know that I just woke up quite recently, so that's why my voice may sound like this. But quite a dramatic ending, a late touchdown by the senior Everett Lemieux with just 26 seconds to go, a big 21-0 run in the third quarter, and of course the game-winning touchdown. So, deja vu, we beat them earlier in the season, and we get them again. Looking at the stats, Peyton Curtis had a slow start, but he had a very solid day, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Running the ball, Dante Savage, only 11 touches for 59 yards, one of his quieter games this season. Patrick Daly had a really nice touchdown in the first quarter from 31 yards. Receiving, Nigel Wiggins was solid. Malik Brown was pretty good. Of course, Everett Lemieux with his big touchdown. Blocking, the offensive line could have been better. Dante Savage allowed all 3 sacks. I find that very hard to believe. Defensively, Owen Jackson led in tackles with 7. He was all over the field. Tackles for loss and sacks. 2 sacks for Ray Johnson and Cole Spencer. Spencer also with 3 tackles for loss. And then, did we force any fumbles? I don't think so. Oh yeah, we did. Leon Moore forced it. Sean Briggs recovered it. So, that is how the season ends for our Hornets. 13-1. Pretty solid, but we were definitely hoping that we would be playing for a national championship. So, looking at the statistics on the season, Peyton Curtis finished with a 197.9 passer rating, which is really, really good. He only had 2,722 yards, but remember, he did miss 2.5 games this season, so that's why his yards are a little bit low. He did finish with more touchdowns at 34 and only 7 picks on the year. And then for the other quarterbacks, Mike Hadley was okay when he was a backup. Could have been better, could have been worse. He did choke the Texas game. Running the ball, Dante Savage was great. Almost 1,600 yards, 17 touchdowns, 8 scores for Patrick Daly, as well as Patrick Daly really had a bigger role than we've ever given backup running backs before. Like, Sebastian Jackson never really got the touches that Daly did, so I'm happy Patrick Daly was able to get a lot of carries and made the most of them. Receiving, everybody got the love. Everyone, I guess, split catches, sort of. Nigel Wiggins led in catches with 55, 825 yards, 9 scores. Lemieux with 12 touchdowns, almost 900 yards, which led the team. Malik Brown with 9 touchdowns, 717 yards. And then the redshirt freshman Noah Newton with 6 scores, none for fishing. That's kind of sad. Blocking-wise, the offensive line was pretty good. Could have been better, could have been worse. They had their rough times this season. Donald Shaw allowed 6 sacks. Underwood and Reginald 5. Dante Savage 3, which was all in the bowl game, which once again I find very hard to believe. 2 for Scott, 1 for the other guys. Brian Barnes should not have played. Defensively, Owen Jackson led in tackles with 95. He was absolutely insane this year. 95 tackles, 22 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 3 interceptions, as well as a pick 6. Surprised he hasn't forced a single fumble in his career. That's crazy, because he hits harder than anybody. I find that really hard to believe. Leon Moore in his senior season, 64 tackles, 2 interceptions, his first career sack. He also had a defensive touchdown, so that's pretty cool. Sean Briggs is a junior, 64 tackles, 1 interception, 6 TFLs, also forced and recovered a fumble. Adam Alexander is a redshirt sophomore, 4 interceptions, which was second on the team, 60 tackles, 2 defensive touchdowns to put him at 3 on his career, which isn't a surprise considering his speed as well as his stats if he played running back. Agobo Onecho as a senior was really solid. He finished with 17 tackles for a loss, 6 sacks, put him in at 21 sacks on his career. He will definitely be missed by this Westlake team. Cole Spencer, where do we begin? 53 tackles, 40 of which were for a loss, and 30 sacks. He was unbelievable. His speed off of the edge was insane. I've never seen anything like it. From a guy who's never played defensive end in his life to now starting there this season and having success that no one has ever had in the realm of college football, he is eligible for the NFL draft. And while he's only an 86, I mean, if I was him, I would take that cash. Josh Wilson as the slot corner was pretty good, almost 50 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 interceptions. Jeremy Harrington led the way with 6 interceptions, putting him at 12 on his career. 39 tackles, 5 for a loss. He had a really good season. Ray Johnson, 18 TFLs, 11 sacks as a redshirt freshman. He was very solid. Lawrence McCoon showed a ton of promise in his true freshman season. Marcus Shelton, 13 tackles for a loss. He was a very solid starter. Wasn't quite as good as QJ Casimir, but you can't really ask someone as a true freshman to replace the great Casimir. Andy Pena was pretty solid as the 4th cornerback. Derek Berry with 2 sacks as well. Noah Newton managed to get 10 tackles as a wide receiver. Matt Fellows, kicking-wise, if the game decides not to be slow, he went 10 for 16 from field goals. Not great, but I guess not horrible. Did kick a 55-yarder, which is, I think, 3rd longest in all of college football. And he went 72 for 72 from extra points. Never missed a PAT in his entire career, which is quite an accomplishment. So now we are on to the All-Americans, starting with the first team, of course, at quarterback, Bruce Bryant of Alabama. Also got the Heisman Trophy winner, Josh Frederick. So in the past 4 seasons, either a Baylor running back or a Westlake running back has won the Heisman. Of course, Alex Ellis won it twice for us, and then Tony Jones won it a few years ago, and now Frederick wins it for Baylor. We do have an offensive player, that is guard William Underwood. He's definitely going to be a pretty big loss to our offensive line. And then defensively is where it gets fun. Obviously, Cole Spencer, that's not really a surprise. But then Marcus Shelton on the All-NCAA first team. Yeah, he showed flashes of solidness this year, but first team, I wouldn't go that far. We also had Owen Jackson, of course, Agobo Onecho, Adam Alexander, Jeremy Harrington, Leon Moore, and Sean Briggs. So basically our whole secondary. On the second team, it doesn't look like we have anyone on offense. Defensively, we have Ray Johnson. That's pretty cool to see. We also have Josh Wilson, so 3 cornerbacks made it. So the best non-cornerback on our team in the entire country was true freshman Patrick Ward, who is a custom recruit. Last year we were going after Patrick's brother, Aaron Ward, who unfortunately ended up not committing with us. Then on the freshman team, of course, we have Dante Savage there, along with Noah Newton. Also Ray Johnson, Marcus Shelton, Derek Berry, Lawrence McCoon, and Andy Pino. Then looking at the Pac-12 team, starting with the Pac-12 first team, we got Dante Savage, Everett Lemieux, William Underwood, Cole Spencer, Ray Johnson, Marcus Shelton, Owen Jackson, Agobo Onecho, Adam Alexander, Jeremy Harrington, Leon Moore, Sean Briggs. So basically, a huge chunk of our team. Alberto Prompel also there. And then the second team, I'm a little bit surprised we don't have Peyton Curtis here, but I guess since sacks count as a loss of rushing yards, that sort of hurts him. But we do have a decent chunk of our offensive line. Ryan Reginald, Herbert Hammond, who I don't think was a starter this year, but okay. Jeremy Reynolds made it as well. Also got Derek Berry in there, and Josh Wilson and Andy Pino. So, ton of Westlake Hornets, especially on the defensive side of the football. Very good to see our players getting recognized for their greatness. Now on to the award winners, starting with the Maxwell Award. That went to USC quarterback Freddie Barron. No Westlake Hornets, it looks like. The Walter Camp Award also went to USC quarterback Freddie Barron. No Westlake Hornets. Chuck Bednarik, of course, went to our man Cole Spencer, coming off his 30-sack season. Owen Jackson in second, Leon Moore in fourth, Jeremy Harrington in fifth, Adam Alexander in sixth. Sean Briggs in eighth, Ray Johnson finishes in 10th. So basically half of our defense is there. Bronco Nagruski also goes to Cole Spencer, Owen Jackson in third, Ray Johnson in fifth, Leon Moore in 11th. The Davey O'Brien Award went to Freddie Barron. No Peyton Curtis, but yet we have an Illinois quarterback in there. What kind of world do we live in? Doak Walker goes to Josh Frederick. Dante Savage in there at number 6. I'd say that's a fair placement for him. Fred Biletnikoff Award went to Michael Lawson of Texas Tech. Everett Lemieux in 4th. Would I say he was the 4th best receiver in college football? Probably not, but he did have a very nice year for us. But players like Cortez Ford have had better years, but just never made it for whatever reason. The John Mackey Award goes to Joseph Smith. There's Sean Collier in second, the former number 1 recruit in the nation. And we also have some very low-rated players. Jonathan Larson, 71 overall. 74 overall, Michael Washington. A true freshman, 65 overall for Clemson. First of all, why is Clemson started a 65 overall? And then also a 68 overall, Chaz Motley. The Outland Award goes to our very own William Underwood. Any Westlake Hornets? Nope. The Remington Award goes to Justin Dean. Jeremy Reynolds finishes in 4th. And obviously there are no more Westlake Hornets because we didn't play any other centers this year. The Lombardi goes to Cole Spencer. Ray Johnson finishes in 3rd. The Best Linebacker Award, which I believe is now the Dick Butkus Award, goes to Owen Jackson. Very well deserved. Agobo Necho finishes in 5th place. The Jim Thorpe Award, Best Defensive Back, goes to Jeremy Harrington. Adam Alexander in 2nd. Leon Moore in 3rd. Sean Briggs in 4th. So our starting secondary gets 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we also got Josh Wilson in there at number 7. The Lou Groza goes to Peter Harrell of Michigan. No Matt Fellows. The Ray Guy Award goes to James Walker of Georgia. Alberto Prompellin there at number 6. The Best Returner goes to Jamie Fortinall for Texas. And no Sean Briggs. So that'll do it for the award winners. Westlake definitely got a ton of hardware this season. And then here's a look at the bowl games. Of course, Westlake's favorite bowl game, which is the Las Vegas Bowl, will be played by Stanford and Air Force. That's an interesting game. And here's a look at all the other games this season. We can highlight the BCS Bowls, as obviously the Rose Bowl, us versus Georgia, we got the win. Fiesta Bowl, Texas versus UCF. The Sugar Bowl is Michigan versus Alabama. The Discover Orange Bowl is the number 11 New Mexico Lobos taking on Pitt. There's the Cotton Bowl, not really a BCS Bowl, kind of is now, kind of. And of course, the BCS National Championship is Baylor and Ohio State. Obviously, I think we should be in this game over the Buckeyes, but can't get them all, I guess. Alright, so now this is like 3 hours later from the beginning part, so now I don't sound like a bullfrog. Anyway, something pretty cool is the Championship Contenders tab. As you can see, number 3 for this year, but for the next 3 seasons, we are number 1. So our top recruiting classes are going to be entering their prime years as Westlake Hornets, and that shows as projected rank 1, 1, and 1. I don't know how Ohio State is higher than us, but maybe that's because they're playing in the national championship this year, which obviously we got snubbed. So that'll pretty much do it for this season. Now we just have to find out who won the rest of the bowl games, and then on to the off-season. So, of course, Westlake's players set numerous records this year. Obviously, Cole Spencer, most sacks by a single player in the history of college football, breaking the record set by the legendary T. Sizzle, Terrell Suggs. Obviously, he also broke the school record, which was originally set back in season number 1 by Conrad Novak. OGs remember him. Everett Lemieux obviously is the most receiving touchdowns in school history, breaking the record set by Ayo Ayeluko. And that is it. So welcome to the record books, Cole Spencer and Ayo Ayeluko, as we are now number 2 to finish out the season. So can't really complain about that. I guess we jumped Alabama after they jumped us. Let's take a look at the bowl results. Washington gets a win, which is cool because they are in our conference. More teams that win in our conference, the better. Unfortunately, Stanford lost the Las Vegas Bowl, our favorite game, so that's sort of sad, but here's a look at the rest of the scores. What is Kansas doing in a bowl game? Okay, they got demolished by USC, so there's that. And then the other games, the BCS Bowls, obviously we beat Georgia by 7. Texas beats UCF 41-23. So the one team we lose to finishes at number 4 in the nation, so that's pretty cool. Alabama absolutely murders Michigan, but we still jump Alabama anyway. Which, considering how badly Alabama beat Michigan, I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm not complaining. New Mexico loses to Pittsburgh in the Orange Bowl, and then the Natty. Baylor absolutely murders Ohio State 56-10. Maybe it's for the better that we did not play Baylor in this game. Ohio State has dropped to 6. That's how badly they got killed. Oh my goodness. The Heisman Josh Frederick with 4 touchdowns. Holy smokes. That is something else. Here's a look at the program history since Mason Conway became the head coach of Westlake. Obviously, year 1 wasn't pretty. We went 3-9, but we've made a bowl game ever since then, 3 Mountain West championships. Ever since joining the Pac-12, we've won 2 in a span of 4 years. And every year since season 1, we've won either a bowl game, a conference championship, or both. So that's pretty cool. I'm not really going to go through the coaching carousel. If there are any big changes around the country, I'll let you guys know. But now on to the saddest stage of the offseason, players leaving. Hopefully no one too important declares or transfers, because that would suck. Alrighty folks, we've now reached the coaching changes and players leaving stage. So I'm a little bit scared for sure. We're going to go in the Pac-12, see some of the big changes, maybe if anything changed for us. So PJ Fleck is the new offensive coordinator at BYU. That's pretty interesting. Anything for us? Drumroll please. We do have some changes. So Pete Kwiatkowski is gone. He has left for a new job. I assume probably as a head coach, because our defense was pretty darn good last year. And then the new defensive coordinator is Mark Dionofrio. Okay? And it looks like that's our only change. So we're going to have to find where Kwiatkowski went. So Pete Kwiatkowski has been hired as the new head coach at Wisconsin. That's a pretty good school in the Big Ten. Definitely a good job for Kwiatkowski, so congratulations to him. And welcome to the team, Mark Dionofrio. That's a tough name. So, players leaving. Hopefully we don't have any unexpected transfers or players who want to declare for the NFL draft. Could someone like Peyton Curtis declare? He's now at 99 overall. He's now eligible for the NFL draft, so maybe he decides to go. Maybe a guy like Cole Spencer, who's also eligible for the first time, coming off a 30-sack season. Obviously, if this was real life, Cole Spencer would be as good as gone, but since he's only like an 86 overall, there's like a decent chance that he does stick around. So here we go, the moment of truth, and okay, so Adam Alexander wants to declare, Jamar Justice wants to declare, and Ikeka Jackson wants to transfer, and then all of these were unexpected, so I wasn't really expecting this. So starting with Ikeka Jackson, he will be going. We don't really need him. The only reason why he's here is because he insta-committed. So I believe that's Louisiana Lafayette where he wants to go to. He'll definitely get playing time there. Good luck to him with the Raging Cajuns. Jamar Justice, when he was a true freshman, we made a storyline about where he was an idiot, and once he accepted the money, he wasn't allowed to play. He actually did have 1 career reception for 23 yards. He shouldn't have gotten in the game, but oh well. He will be an NFL player, even though he technically has never ever played a college snap. And then Adam Alexander, he's actually a really good player. 7 interceptions through 2 seasons. He was the #1 player in the entire country in his recruiting class. And I wasn't expecting him to declare, but it makes sense. I do think he's good enough for the NFL. I think he can play in the secondary, but he can also be used as a good kick and punt returner. And he can also be a Swiss Army knife on offense with his elite athleticism and speed. Sort of what Sean Briggs is now. And if we didn't have Sean Briggs, I think Alexander would be used more in those roles. So we're not going to bring back Adam Alexander because we have talent at corner. And we're also doing pretty well recruiting-wise with corner. We have 2 4-star freshmen who are both pretty solid. We're also quite deep at safety as well. Jamar Justice is gone. That's fine with me. Ikeka Jackson is gone. Good luck in UL Lafayette, buddy. Jeremy Harrington, first round, just coming off the Jim Thorpe Award. Very well deserved. He has been great in his time with Westlake. Tackles have gone down the past 2 years, but he was injured for like half of the season last year. And as a freshman and sophomore, he was in the slot. So that's why. He had 4 sacks as a freshman. That's strange. 9 tackles for loss, 6 interceptions this year, 12 on the career. Got his first career touchdown. I think that was against Washington State. Forced his first fumble this year. So all around, he's an extremely good player, and he will definitely be missed. Everett Lemieux, also a first-round pick, coming off the game-winning touchdown in the bowl game. Almost 4,000 career receiving yards, 37 touchdowns, which is the most in school history. He's been really good for us. He's a deep threat. He can stretch the field. Solid size at 6'1", 199. William Underwood in the second round. 40 career pancakes. You guys know I love those cakes. and he's been a really solid starter ever since his true freshman year. Matt Fellows in the 4th. This one surprises me a little bit. I didn't think he'd get picked. Only 63% on field goals this year, 70 on his career. Never missed an extra point, and I don't think he's an NFL caliber player, but I do think he's a CFL guy, maybe. And then Jeff Washington in the 5th. He's not even our starting tight end. 13 career catches, never got more than 4 in a season, so that's kind of strange. Sandy Fishing also graduating. He was the starting tight end this year. Westlake doesn't really use their tight end too much, so he's never had a huge role in this team. Only 25 catches in the past 2 seasons, 0 touchdowns in the past 2 seasons, finishing with 74 catches on his career, 6 receiving touchdowns, almost 1,200 yards, so he'll be missed as well. Ryan Reginald, only an 84 overall, but he's been a pretty solid starter for all 4 years. He's had his shaky moments, but he's still a talented player. Herbert Hammond, he's been nice depth on the O-line. Jeremy Reynolds, solid starter. He had a great year this year, not allowing a single sack. Leon Moore's not getting picked. I forgot about that. I thought he was a guy who would declare as a sophomore or a junior, but even as a senior, he doesn't get picked. That shocks me. Yeah, he's not a superstar, but as a 97 overall, who's been very productive in college. Wow. 7 career interceptions, 235 tackles, 11 for a loss. And then Agogo Inecho, another guy who, not a superstar, but he's a guy who I'd be willing to take a flyer on. 21 career sacks, 180 tackles, 49 for a loss. So definitely a ton of talent in this senior class. All of these guys will be missed. Looking at the other guys entering the NFL draft and entering the transfer portal, the highest player declaring is a projected second-round pick safety, Darius Bowling out of Iowa. We'll see if we recognize anyone here. Obviously, Adam Alexander in there as a projected 4th-round selection. Jamal Lawn, he is a custom recruit, I believe. He's already a junior? I thought he was like a freshman or a sophomore. Maybe that's someone else I'm thinking of. I think he's a custom recruit. Here are all the transfers. I can't imagine any of them want to come here, but we're not going to look to add to the suspense. Geez, there's a lot of people. There's Ikeka Jackson over there. And then the players who were convinced to stay are all here, including Georgia's quarterback Greg Garcia, Sean Harris, who was 2nd in the nation in sacks, just behind Cole Spencer. Michael Howard had an incredible year at Middle Tennessee State. Only 2 players are staying via transfer. And then the draft. Does this mean Everett Lemieux's going number 1 and Jeremy Harrington's going number 2? That would be sick. John Davis in the 1st round out of Bama. Arizona has a tackle going in the 1st. Claude Darby, I feel like I recognize that name from recruiting. James Overstreet in the 1st round. He had a big role for the Buckeyes. Mike Johnson, we were going after him in recruiting a number of years ago. Jermaine Flowers played well against us. Charles Bryant in the 1st round. He is a really talented player. Blake Sears, I recognize that name. Freddie Barron in the 1st round. Very well deserved. Freddie Barron is a great player. Cole Williams, custom recruit in the 1st round. Now into round 2, of course, William Underwood is there. 99 overall center out of Cal. David Roberts will be a 2nd-round pick. Anyone else with interest? Caleb Bowser in the 2nd round. He was a really good 5-star recruit. I remember him. Thomas Harris, Ohio State's quarterback, is a 2nd-round pick. Anyone else in here we know? Wes Robinson, I remember playing against him. That's about it. Now on to round 3. There's Tyrone Miles. He was a 5-star athlete. Calvin Meeks. We really wanted this guy in recruiting a number of years ago. He's developed into a great player. Definitely a big loss for this team. John Marcus in the 3rd. Joel Fry in round 3. Matt Fellows there in round 4. There's Matt Ashley, the quarterback of Baylor. I'm surprised he's not going higher, honestly. Chad Franklin at BYU in the 4th. Aaron O'Brien, I swear I recognize that name from somewhere. Now on to the 5th, there's Jeff Washington. Josh Frederick, the Heisman winner, goes in the same round as Alex Ellis. You know, that makes me feel good. Anyone else here? Doesn't look like we know anyone else in the 5th round. On to round 6, Reggie Richardson and Robert Richardson. Are they related? Robert Richardson played pretty well against us in the bowl game. Against us, obviously. Cedric Carr, custom recruit, I believe, in the 6th out of Kentucky. Ron Robinson in the 6th, okay. The Eric Fisher clone. Bud Knight goes in round 6. He's a custom recruit. Derek Fisher, a custom recruit. Eric Fisher's younger brother. He's a senior. My goodness, time flies. Ricky Tidwell is a custom recruit. He's going in the 6th round, on to the 7th. Kerry Harmon, he's going lower than Fellows, boys. That's pretty cool. Darius Jackson in the 7th, he's a custom recruit, so that's pretty cool to see that all of our former custom recruits are now in the NFL. So looking at the draft results, everybody goes in their projected rounds. Lemieux and Harrington in the 1st, William Underwood in the 2nd, Fellows in the 4th, Alexander and Jeff Washington in round 5, and then Jamar Justice in the 7th. So now on to transfer requests. We've never had anyone transfer to our school. I don't know why. If anyone knows how to fix that, let me know. But do we get anyone? No. 8 years and counting, baby. Now that the sad part is over, having some of our players go, now we enter recruiting, which is kind of frightening me. It's very intimidating. Usually there are some years where it's either really easy or really hard. This year there are so many players I want who have not committed yet, so it's going to be very hard to say no to some of these guys. For the past 3 years, we've had the number 1 class in the country, and it doesn't look like we're going to have it this year. Currently at number 13. We're going to need everyone on our board to commit, and that is highly unlikely. BYU is at number 4. Why are they so good at recruiting all of a sudden? I don't get this. They were good last year, too. They stole all of our defensive tackles away. So, here we go. The fun and intimidating part, starting with Tommy Fitzpatrick, definitely a player I want to go after. Owen Jackson's replacement is not on the roster, and he will be a redshirt senior this season. Khalil Corbin looks like an insane wide receiver from Champ Britton's hometown of Escondido, California. DJ Thomas, Georgia is now a pipeline state for us, and Thomas looks like a great athlete. Delvin Hines looks like a phenomenal pass rusher. You can never have too many guys going after the quarterback, and Cole Spencer will be a redshirt junior this season. Octavius October, the brother of Quantavious October, and we could use some help at defensive tackle. That was definitely our weakest position last year. Terry Harley at cornerback, long, lean, 6'3", really talented. Andrew Murphy, Luke Hall, and Ben Robinson are there as well. We've not offered him a scholarship yet, and while I would, that costs 50 points. Should we? I don't know. I'll think about it. But the guys who've already committed, our current recruiting class is Ray White, Mike Johnson, Anthony Mitchell. He's a guy who could get playing time as a true freshman with Jeremy Harrington and Adam Alexander gone. Kyle Harris, Stephen Westwood, the number 1 quarterback in the nation, Sam Brown, Volker Gans, who will be the starting kicker this year, Mike Wilson, Dwayne Morton, J.B. Givens, and Greg Giorli, who will be the long-term punter. So, you know what? Screw it. Maybe he insta-commits. Damn, we just wasted 50 points. We don't have points to waste this year, so now on to allocating our 14,950 points. So this is how we're going to allocate our 14,950 points. Going to give 3,800 to Tommy Fitzpatrick. There are 4 teams in front of us, so it's going to be challenging. But I think this is a solid number. As long as Indiana doesn't give 24, West Virginia gives 27, and Alabama gives 3,000. So there's a decent chance we don't get him, which is kind of scary, but I think that should be good enough. Khalil Corbin is getting the most points, 5,150. Would have given him 5,200, but because of the scholarship to Ben Robinson. So Robinson's scholarship took off of Corbin's points, giving him the most because I think he's going to be the hardest to get, as you can see. Delvin Hines is my top target. I really want him. We're going 4,000 points over what Texas currently has. So 4,000 is the magic number right there. And then we're going to give the rest to Octavius October. He currently has 1,285. There's a very solid chance that Florida gives him 1,500. But the reason why I'm giving him not that many points is because I really want these 3 guys. And Octavius would just be a cherry on top. So I will be happy if we get 3 of them. I don't expect to get all 4 of these guys, but if we can get 3 of them, I would be pretty happy. So as you can see, I decided not to go after cornerback Terry Harley or athlete DJ Thomas. Thomas is likely a running back or a defensive back, which neither of those are huge needs. We're deep at safety. We're deep at corner, even with losing our 2 stars. Hence why we also don't need Terry Harley. So that's why we're not going after them. Hopefully we can get at least 3 of our 4 guys. And we get Delvin Hines and Octavius October. Okay. Tommy goes to Alabama, or Indiana. Where did I get Alabama from? Khalil Corbin is going to USC. Okay, so we got 2 of them. I'm surprised we got Octavius, honestly, but hopefully we didn't lose on Khalil Corbin by less than 50 points. That would make me so salty. We obviously did not have a #1 recruiting class in the country, so that kind of sucks. So, could have been better, could have been worse. Ben Robinson we did not get, so that scholarship was all for nothing. We barely lost on Fitz, no. Corbin we lost out on by a decent bit. DJ Thomas, we didn't need to give him that much to get him, honestly, so that kind of sucks. Delvin Hines, we won by 1,700, and it doesn't really look like Florida went after Octavius too much. So, losing Fitzpatrick stings. We could have taken a decent bit of points off of Delvin Hines, off of Octavius, off of Khalil Corbin, and we would have our middle linebacker for the next 4 years. But now, we're going to need to go after someone this year, and they're going to have to start as a true freshman unless we move like Louis Kahn there next year. I don't really know how to feel about that. So, here is a look. We have the 9th best recruiting class. Okay, I'll take that. 2 5-stars, Stephen Westwood and Delvin Hines. We had some 4-stars, Kyle Harris, J.B. Givens, Octavius October, Sam Brown, Mike Johnson, and Anthony Mitchell. Bonner is a walk-on, Dwayne Morton, Greg Yearley, Mike Wilson, Ray White. 1 2-star, that is Volker Gantz. And then a bunch of 1-star walk-ons, Collier, Kinneary, Patrick, Whitaker, and Woodard. So welcome to the team, gentlemen. I guess recruiting could have gone worse because wide receiver isn't a huge need for us. And we have our top 4 guys for the next 2 years set, so Khalil Corbin wouldn't play until he's a redshirt sophomore. And then Tommy Fitzpatrick is going to Indiana. We want to see Indiana do well because they have Jackson Kelly as their head coach. Kelly, of course, was our former offensive coordinator, so I guess it could have gone worse. On to position changes. Now we get to see everyone for their new years. Curtis is now a junior. Oh my word. Brian Barnes should not be here, just like Jamar Justice. They were both in the same storyline. But we're just going to keep Brian Barnes on the roster. So this team looks quite different. We're going to have some new starters. We're definitely going to move Greg Yearley to punter. Do we have any athletes? We don't this year. That's like a first. We don't have any athletes. Wow, that's pretty crazy. So currently our starting right guard is Patrick Young, who is a solid player, but we will be moving Jamar Porter over because Porter is a little higher rated. Porter will be the starter there this year, and then Patrick Young will have the right guard duties next year as a redshirt senior. So something I did not know is that Mike Wilson here is a gem. I guess I didn't scout him because he wasn't insta-commit, so maybe we should have put more of our points in Fitzpatrick rather than going after Delvin Hines, but oh well, I guess that's cool. Ladies and gentlemen, we have found our middle linebacker of the future. Justin McGee goes up in rating, and we don't really need him at outside linebacker because we have Lawrence McCoon and Louis Kahn there. So McGee is now the long-term middle linebacker, and he will be a starter next year. So losing out on Fitzpatrick isn't the end of the world anymore. Senior Brenton Scott will be moving to 3 safety, where he will be starting for this upcoming season over Jimmy Gray and the legend himself, Steve Harvey. The long-term safety there will likely be Marcus Lee. He might start next year. He might start as a redshirt junior. We will see. We may even have a position battle here. Maybe he plays better than Brenton Scott in practice. Maybe we look to start Marcus Lee now. And then the final position change, I hinted this earlier. I've been hinting this all season. Greg Yearley will move to punter. So now we have 3 punters on the roster. I've never bothered to cut Nick Rivera this whole time. Sorry, buddy, but it looks like we're finally going to cut you. Now on to training results. As Param Crow says, this is the best part of the offseason, and I rightfully agree because it is nowhere near as stressful as recruiting. So, here we go. We still only have 2 players at 99 overall. They are still Mike Hadley and Peyton Curtis. Joshua Jones is now an 88. Rodney Allen now an 86. I considered moving Allen to wide receiver, something we can maybe look at for the future, but I decided not to right now. Dante Savage goes up 6. He is now a 94 overall, which is higher than Alex Ellis ever was. Jason Gibbs is a 90. Patrick Daly is an 89. Tim Beck, I totally forgot about this dude, but he's an 82. Fullback, do we have one? We have Jeff Brandt. That's right, I forgot about him. He's now a 68. Brian Barnes, even though because of a storyline he's not going to play, he is a 97. Nigel Wiggins is a 91. Malik Brown is a 90. Noah Newton, 88. Frank Bray, 88. So these 3 will be my top 3, and then we're going to have a competition for my number 4 spot. I would definitely like to see Ulri Ayaluka win that because 1, he has 98 speed. Frank Bray is slow as molasses. And Ayo Ayuluka was the number 4 receiver for 3 years of his 4-year career, and I definitely can see that as a likely role early on for his younger brother, Ori Ayuluka. Ronald Young is an 86, that's pretty good. On the offensive line, Josh McClellan is an 81, he will be the starter there. Bobby Fagan, the first instant commit in school history, is a 79. Neil Scott now at a 91. Mike Carter is a 94. Jamar Porter is an 87. Patrick Young is an 83. So I definitely made the right choice by moving Porter over. And then Donald Shaw is also an 87. Cole Spencer is up to a 91. Ray Johnson is an 86. Brandon Bowman at an 83. Marcus Shelton, 81. Derek Berry, 80. This is definitely another position that we may look at as a position battle. Maybe Octavius October can start as a true freshman. Scott Wheaton is an 85, but that spot will once again go to Lawrence McCoon, who is an 82. He won the position battle last year. At middle linebacker, Owen Jackson is an 89 as a senior. Justin McGee, an 83. So entering next year, McGee won't be that much worse than Owen Jackson, so that's pretty cool. Lewis Kahn only goes up 3. I don't really like that. In the secondary, only 3 corners returning from last year's team, but we do have those young guys and plenty of safeties who can always play as the number 4 and 5 cornerbacks. Josh Wilson is a 95, Pino 85, John Paul Patterson at a 79, Brenton Scott 92, Jimmy Gray 87, Steve Harvey 85, Marcus Lee is an 83, Sean Briggs only goes up 3 to a 96, Marcus Jones at a 79, and then at punter, Alberto Prompel goes up to a 96, Nick Rivero, who will be getting cut, goes up to an 89. So that is training results. Wonder what our final overall rating will be. I think we were a 97 last year, 99 offense, 93 defense. So hopefully our rating does not get too much worse. We have 75 players on the roster. We need to cut 5. Obviously, Nick Rivero is going to be one of them. It's been real Nicky, but ye gone. I know there are a bunch of walk-on corners. We don't need this 52 overall Xavier Collier, so he's gone. Martin Whitaker, I'm fine with just keeping these 5 guys on the roster, so Whitaker is gone. I'm really just looking at a couple walk-ons, so I don't really care about. Tavares Kinneary, you are gone. I cannot cut him. I know I can't cut you. Can I? I can cut you. Tremaine Williams is out. Nicholas Patrick, we don't need him. We already have a fullback. He's gone. So that'll put us at 70. Maybe, do we want to cut one more? Should we keep Glenn Bonner on the team? We don't really need him. We want 69 players on the roster for the memes. So Glenn Bonner is gone. So there we go. We got 69 players on the squad headed into season number 9. Maybe that'll be the good luck charm, but I know we've had 69 before, so it doesn't really matter. So next up is custom conferences. Last year we did switch divisions. I'm not going to touch conferences for anybody in college football. I don't really see a big reason to do so. So that will bring us to the preseason. Next episode, we'll do all the custom recruits for preseason recruiting. All we have left for today is doing the redshirting, unofficial depth charts, and unofficial custom schedules. The official depth chart and schedule will be in the next episode, along with preseason polls, preseason recruiting, custom recruits, as I said, all of that good stuff. So let's get right on in. So we will start the season as the number 3 team in the country. That is quite solid. So looking at red shirts, I just did this. So the players who will be getting redshirted are all the guys in the red. Volker Gantz is obviously starting, and the other true freshman I did not redshirt is Octavius October. He might start, we'll see. But the guys who did get redshirted are Tavares Kinneary, the walk-on center, Sam Brown, Mike Johnson, Dwayne Morton, Kyle Harris, J.B. Givens, Mike Wilson, Stephen Westwood, Anthony Mitchell. I am redshirting, might be a little bit of a surprise, but I'll just put some of the safeties who are backups at the number 4 and 5 cornerback spots. Delvin Hines, Greg Giorli, they will also be getting redshirted. And then I think we're redshirting a few juniors. Jason Gibbs, because, I mean, we might as well just give him an extra year of eligibility. And then Will Woodard, he is a walk-on, so we don't really need him. We'll redshirt him. I considered Mike Hadley, but I figured that wouldn't be right. I trust Joshua Jones and Rodney Allen to do good as the backups. However, I'm not going to do that to Mike Hadley, so he'll get to keep his spot as the backup quarterback. Here's a look at the unofficial depth chart, and I strongly emphasize the word unofficial. We may make a few changes. Quarterback position is pretty set in stone. Obviously, Peyton Curtis is the starter. Mike Hadley is the backup. Rodney Allen will be the third stringer over Joshua Jones. I like Allen's skill set a little bit more, and he is younger. Running back, the main two running backs will once again be Dante Savage and Patrick Daly. Tim Beck as the third string. Fourth string will be Jamal Hill. Fullback will be Jeff Brandt. Wide receivers, Nigel Wiggins will be the 1. Noah Newton will be the 2. Malik Brown will be the 3. So Newton jumps up from 4 to 2. Brown stays at 3, and that is because I feel like Noah Newton fits more of an outside receiver. He's a little bit bigger, a little bit more athletic, a little bit faster, whereas Brown, not quite the athlete, not quite his size, but I think he's a little bit better of a route runner, and he has a little bit better hands. And then the number 4 receiver will be a competition. I'd like to see Ori Ayaluko win because, 1, he's an Ayaluko. 2, 98 speed, that is killer. But maybe one of the veterans like Frank Bray wins that job. Tight end will be Ronald Young and Ray White. I would make Frank Bray the number 2 if he doesn't win the number 4 job, but I can't imagine he's as good of a blocker as Ray White is. Left tackle will be Josh McClelland. Left guard will be Neil Scott. Center will be Mike Carter. Right guard will be Jamar Porter. And right tackle will be Donald Shaw. Left end will be Cole Spencer. Right end will be Ray Johnson. So pretty much the same as last year for defensive ends. Defensive tackle will be Marcus Shelton. And either Octavius October or Derek Berry. If October does not win the job, he will be redshirted. Left outside linebacker will once again be Lawrence McCoon. Middle linebacker once again Owen Jackson. Right outside linebacker is going to be Lewis Kahn. He will not be wearing number 12, but he is a player I'm so excited for. 94 speed. He's going to be such a fun player to use. Cornerback, Josh Wilson will be number 1. Andy Pino 2. John Paul Patterson 3. Steve Harvey 4. And Jimmy Gray 5. Some of those bottom positions like 4 and 5 are subject to change. Brenton Scott at 3 safety. Sean Briggs at strong safety. Those positions are likely set in stone, but maybe someone else steals the 3 safety job away from Scott. Kicker will be Volker Gans. Nigel Wiggins is a 71 kicker. Punter will be Alberto Prompel. Nigel Wiggins is a 70 punter, so if we need an emergency kicker or punter, we know who to call. Sean Briggs, Patrick Daly will be the kick returners. Briggs will take over punt returning duties once again. Alberto Prompel will do the kickoffs. Nigel Wiggins is a 75 there. My goodness. And then Mike Carter will be the launch snap. If anyone is curious, Nigel Wiggins has 78 kick power, the exact same as Greg Giorli, and then 72 kick accuracy. So I assume he was a kicker or punter in high school, probably. Here's a look at the unofficial schedule. Once again, I stress the word unofficial. If you guys want to potentially make changes to who we play in the non-conference, that is fine. Leave me suggestions down in the comments. So week 1, I feel like it makes sense for a powerhouse to start off with an easier team at home. So that's what we're doing with East Carolina. This is the only week that Utah State is available. However, we might want to suspend the rivalry for 1 year because of how bad we absolutely murdered them last year. Week 2, bye week. Week 3, getting right into Pac-12 play at number 5 USC. Week 4 versus number 6 UCLA. Week 5 at Louisiana Lafayette. They have a 6 stadium, and we get to play Ikeka Jackson. Week 6 at the defending champion Baylor Bears. Last year, we went at the defending national champion Texas Longhorns, who ended up beating us for early loss of the season. Week 11 is a bye week. Week 8 at Utah, who's number 8. Week 9 versus Washington State. Week 10 versus Oregon. Week 11 at number 11 Washington. Week 12 versus Duke. Week 13 at Boise State. And then Senior Day will be against the BYU Cougars. So that is a look at the unofficial schedule. Once again, make sure to let me know teams that you would like to see. And I believe that'll do it for the offseason. This episode was about 40 minutes, just like last year's offseason. I was hoping to make this year's quicker, but there is a lot of stuff I wanted to blabble on about. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like the button and subscribe. And as always, have a good one. Peace out.